Hey everybody, Dr. Yeager here, and thanks again for listening to our Full Circle Animal Healthcare podcasts. Winter can be one of Mother Nature's most deadly seasons. Temperatures can become dangerously cold, putting individuals at risk of developing hypothermia and frostbite. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, approximately 13,000 people die each year from exposure to the cold. Similarly, many number of animals are seen in the ER each winter for experiencing the detrimental effects of the cold. So it's just as important to keep our canine companions safe and warm this winter, as well as ourselves. To begin, let's talk about hypothermia, what it is and how it becomes deadly. Hypothermia is defined as 2 degrees Celsius below normal body temperature. For humans, this would mean having a temperature of about 96 degrees Fahrenheit or 36 degrees Celsius. For dogs, a temperature of about 98 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius would indicate hypothermia, since dogs have a slightly higher temperature than we do. And their temperature can drop well below 98 degrees Fahrenheit depending on the circumstances. How cold it is outside, how long they have been exposed, and how they are exposed all contribute to the severity of hypothermia. Spending an hour outside on a sunny 32 degree Fahrenheit day may make them a little chilly, nothing a warm sleep by the fire won't fix. But that scenario is not as life-threatening as spending 10 minutes in a freezing cold lake after falling through the ice in a failed attempt to catch a squirrel. Immersion in water or having damp fur from sleet or wet snow can cause rapid hypothermia as water draws out body heat quicker than air alone. Those of you who have taken the polar plunge at some point in your life can surely relate. Being cold is one thing. Being cold and wet, well, it's quite another. So in essence, the colder the temperature, the shorter amount of time it takes to become hypothermic, especially if they're wet. And just because dogs have a fur coat does not make them any less immune to the cold. Their fur coats work in the same way our winter jackets we begrudgingly sport each winter. They help insulate heat generated from the body, keeping us toasty for some period of time, but after a while outside in freezing temperatures, we start to get cold, and our dogs do too. In the early stages of hypothermia, the body compensates for the decrease in temperature by creating heat and conserving heat. Shivering begins in an effort to create heat, and blood vessels constrict in the extremities like the paw, nose, ear, or tail in an effort to keep that heat inside the body towards the core, near important organs like the heart and lungs. This mechanism increases the risk of developing frostbite, which I'll discuss in more detail later on. Signs of early hypothermia include shivering, rapid breathing, increase in urination, cold ears and feet, and hair standing on ends, known as piloerection. This is like goosebumps for dogs. At this point, bring your dogs indoors if they are wet, dry them off with a warm towel, and offer them lukewarm water. As hypothermia progresses, breathing will become slow and shallow. They may seem lethargic or disoriented. One key sign of the late stage of hypothermia is the absence of shivering, despite being cold to the touch. If you suspect your dog, or any dog for that matter, is very cold but not shivering and seems disoriented, please take them to your local veterinarian immediately. They will need immediate care. The second weather-related injury of importance is frostbite. As mentioned earlier, frostbite occurs due to blood flow restriction in areas furthest from the body's core to keep blood warm around the central vital organs. Areas such as the ears, nose, tail, paw, legs, and genitals are typically affected. Have you run out to get those little booties for your dogs yet? If you don't spend a lot of time outdoors during the winter with your dog, research suggests that your dog may actually not need them. According to a December 2011 article in the Journal of Veterinary Dermatology, researchers discovered dogs are able to conserve heat fairly well in their densely vascularized, fat-padded paws, allowing them to cope with cold, frozen winter tundra a lot better than we can with our bare feet. However wonderful paw pads are in conserving heat, they are not totally resistant to the cold. If subjected to freezing temperatures for a prolonged period of time, paw pads can become frostbitten. Signs of frostbite are discoloration of the area, often will be pale red, blue, or even black, painful or cold to the touch, swelling, and pain upon warming the area. If you suspect your dog has frostbite, slowly warm the area with warm water. Do not use direct heat on the area, such as a hairdryer or heating pad, and do not rub the area, as this can cause further tissue damage. If the area is black or will not warm up despite efforts to warm, please take them to your local veterinarian as soon as possible. I always say prevention is the best medicine. When it comes to preventing hypothermia and/or frostbite, if your pet this winter, my best advice is to keep your canine out of the cold for extended periods of time. Avoid ice and bodies of water, frozen or not. If you are traveling outdoors this winter with your dog hunting or taking long hikes in the snow, purchasing those little booties might not be a bad idea. Small breed dogs, puppies, geriatric dogs, dog with hypothyroidism or heart disease, and those that are not acclimated to the cold, i.e. spend their days indoors, cuddled up in a soft blanket, are at an increased risk of developing hypothermia. If you dream of having adventures with your dog this winter, taking them out on short walks or for a brief playtime outside, and then gradually increasing the length of the walk or playtime, will help their body acclimate to the chilly weather. Just as a reminder, this content is strictly for informational purposes only. It does not replace advice or judgment by your local veterinarian. Please see a licensed veterinarian in your area for all veterinary-related issues. Thanks again for listening, everyone. Have a super great week, and be sure to give your four-legged friend a big hug for me.